This video is not only a tribute to Jason David Frank, it's a tribute to a lot of men that decided to go a certain route. The more you make, the more they'll want. The more you'll give, the more they'll take. The more the more they'll take, the more you'll have to make. Because the more you'll have to give and the more they'll take. Let's just say child support and alimony is just a slow death to men. It's a slow death. You'll do 18 years of child support. Have to do your last child support payment when the child is turned 18, 25. But alimony is lifelong until she gets remarried. And she might not get remarried. She might decide to just drag this on. Just to make you miserable. Some women are like that, Moxie. Women are like that. And if they're not, they have the capabilities to be like that. Now, it hasn't been ruled out as a suicide. But if it is proven MGTOW and the red pill correct. Once again, it has proven MGTOW and the red pill correct. Not these other clowns, not these clowns that say, oh, get it, that are mad and angry. The ones that are calm, rational thinkers. The ones that are actually scary. See, a man can scream at the top of his lungs all day until everybody else in the world turns blue. But a man that is calm understands the situation, understands the assignment, and understands the environment around him is dangerous and scary. Even more dangerous if they can control their urges. Tell you why men like that who can control their urges are dangerous. Because they don't have anything tying them down. They don't have anything tying them down. Like a wife and children. Alimony. It never ends. It keeps taking men to the grave. Somebody famous like Jason David Frank decided to off themselves. Can you imagine the ripple that is going to cause? Especially in the lower class, in a non-acting class, the non-musician class. A lot of men who haven't decided to just say screw it and check out already. A lot of men who are going through alimony, who are going through child support, who have been through divorce court. That right there is going to cause the unaliving rate to go from 22 a day to maybe 23 or 24. You know? Because in many cases, a lot of men grew up watching Jason David Frank in the Power Rangers. A lot of men grew up watching Jason David Frank in the Power Rangers. Let that sink in. 49 years old, almost 50. Let that sink in. A lot of men took his lessons to heart. Every lesson that Jason David Frank has given on Power Rangers, a lot of men have taken it to heart. And a lot of men looked up to Jason David Frank. A lot of men my age, and a lot of men younger. Remember growing up watching Power Rangers after school on Power Rangers after school. Come in, new episode of Power Rangers came in. Come in, watch television. This was back when antennas. This is back when you had to mess with the rabbit ears in the 90s. Not have a cable bill. I remember them days. The rabbit ears. The rabbit ear days when they used to sit on the top of the television. And the radar dish. The rabbit ear radar dish. They could get a few channels that you have to, sometimes you might have to tune, depending on how old your television is. But let that sink in. If the man that a lot of young men, a lot of men my age, looked up to, decided that enough was enough, what do you think type of ripples that's going to cause? A lot of men have gone through divorce. A lot of men that are going through alimony, child support, and literally it's an insurmountable amount that the only way to see they see getting somewhere is out. I'm going to share a lyric. It's a part of one of my quotes. Racing around racing the sun for it to come up behind you again. It is a line from Pink Floyd that I modified. It's a line from Pink Floyd from the Dark Side of the album. The song's name is Time. And I'm gonna quote the lyrics verbatim. The sun is the same. Oh, better get. I'm gonna go from the backtrack. I'm gonna quote the lyrics verbatim. And you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. Jason David Frank was racing the sun with two women. Jason David Frank was racing the sun with two women. You know, he was racing the sun with two women. And I can only count I can't even count how many times that sun sunk down below the horizon and came up behind him and hit him in the back. So many times. So many times he probably had to fight to see his children. He had 4 of them, you know. So many men are going through the same thing, racing the sun. And yet, they're gonna chalk it up to mental illness. Like everything else they do, they're just gonna put them in a category. They're gonna put them in a category, then put them in a casket. They're gonna put them in a category, then put them in a casket, and then bury them. You know? Put them, it's pretty much all it is. Put them in a casket, put them in a category, bury them. Ladies, you might want to think on how you do with your men, because eventually the population of men, through the men leaving the country, going MGTOW, and deciding to off themselves, the more you do to men, the more men will end up distancing themselves and not being around. Men are already leaving Babylon. Men are already leaving Sodom and Gomorrah. Men are already racing the sun and having it come up behind your way. Again, that is so flexible because that can be applied to anything that a lot of men do to try to alleviate or lessen the pain that they're going through. Whether it be travel, juggling 2 alimony bills, it's racing the sun. Because it's designed that way. It was designed that way. It was designed to have men running and running and running and running, watching the sun disappear over the horizon for it to come up behind them and slap them in the face and then keep running. The machine never stops. Welcome, my friend, to the machine. And they already know where you've been. This is Red Pill No Win, signing off.